This is a great conversation.
We had Joanna, the CEO of Midi Health, come on and talk about perimenopause, menopause, longevity. I mean, what
Leadership.
else?
Leadership. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is the frustration email and leading as kind of a superpowers within menopause. There's a better way to say that, but I think she's really an example of somebody who is leading the charge culturally with her company and from a brand standpoint with the superpowers of menopause.
Lots of fun things to take away here. So from a business perspective, but also from a life perspective. So, give the whole thing a listen.
Yep. Enjoy.
Hey everyone, it's Chris.
And Kirsten.
Welcome to Good Thinking Weekly, the podcast where we discuss the best of the best in brands, marketing, and culture.
Thousands of people, top execs from the likes of Complex, Klaviyo, Walmart, Wall Street Journal, and LVMH tune in every single week.
We run a creative consultancy in Good Co, so we know what it takes to build a good brand.
Subscribe on YouTube, your favorite podcast app, and Good Thinking on Substack for more.
All right, let's dive in.
Welcome to a very special edition of Good Thinking.
I've been looking forward to this one for maybe a few weeks now. We had to reschedule it. That was our fault, so thank you. But yeah, welcome, Joanna and Midi Health.
Thank you. I'm super excited.
We are. Yes. I mean, I was saying before we started rolling the camera that Kirsten is basically obsessed with you. So it's really nice to have you here so that she can pick your brain. And yeah, like I said, we've been super excited to talk to you. I feel like what you're building is not just personally interesting, but also professionally interesting, which is always my favorite combination.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to pick your brain about all the things that you guys are working on at Midi Health in terms of longevity and perimenopause and menopause and all of the things. And I know that we actually have a ton of listeners, subscribers, readers of the letter who are similarly like both professionally and personally inclined. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun takeaways today.
Yes. You know, that's what's actually fun about this, honestly, is that like there is a professional and personal component, right? And also we're helping women succeed both at home and at work. And we think a lot about that. So yeah, excited to talk.
I love this. I love this. I mean, you're just such a pioneer in the space. And I think, the space is only getting kind of more and more talked about, thank God. But I think just you pioneering and then how you come across, as I said, I'm definitely a LinkedIn stalker of yours. And just how you just put it out there. And I just really appreciate that, kind of seeing you really do that at work and kind of in your personal. But can you give a little bit of an intro? Midi Health?
Yeah.
So anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah. I'm Joanna Strober. I founded Midi 3.5 years ago at age 53. So yes. I'm old. I want to say it. This is my fifth act, I think. I've had a really varied career, but this is by far the most exciting thing that I've done in my life. And Midi is a virtual care clinic for women really focused on perimenopause and menopause and longevity and really all the things that women need to think about post basically baby or post-child, right? Like so much of our attention goes into the childbirth for women's health, but then it seems like everything else has kind of been ignored. So our job at Midi is to make sure that women have access to really high quality expert care as they go into their second act, as they age, and to help them age healthier and happier. And importantly, it's all covered by insurance. So part of what we're really doing is focusing on democratizing access to great care and making sure that women have great care, not having to go pay $1,000 to talk to a hormone specialist, but great care covered by insurance.
I love that. So tell me, I mean, I have so many questions, but like, tell me how you like woke up at 50. I guess you were just about to turn 50 when you started, Midi, if that's my math is
50,
mathing.
Old.
Oh yeah, 50.
That's not old.
I thought you said you were 53 now. I see. So you're 53 now. You've been around. Okay, I got it. I'm mathing now. So tell me why this? Like, why were you like, this is the mission, this is the thing that I'm gonna do now?
So it was really a few components. First of all, I did have a really horrible perimenopause. Honestly, now people are talking about perimenopause, but when I was in my 40s, no one was talking about it. I was waking up in the middle of the night, not sleeping, having anxiety, gaining weight because I was not sleeping and I was tired and I was crabby. And I was going to marriage therapy because I was angry all the time, and no one gave me the right care. It was really frustrating. So I was given a sleeping pill by my primary care doctor. He also told me to go to therapy instead of like, I was like, I
He.
don't need therapy. Yes, he.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I didn't need therapy, but he told me to go to therapy. I was going to a marriage therapist, and every week we were talking about lack of libido. No one ever said maybe this could be related to your hormones or perimenopause. So it was a hard journey through perimenopause for me. And eventually I got introduced to a hormone specialist. I paid her $1,000. I got the right medications, and my whole life was transformed in a really short period of time. And I just felt incredibly angry and sad that it took so long for me to get this care. And I started talking to my friends and realizing that everyone was going through the same thing. People were not given the right care. They were being taken care of like a body part, right? Like you have a headache. No one has ever said it could be a migraine that's related to your hormones. Instead, like everything was like a body part as opposed to a holistic approach. And so that was really the impetus is I started thinking about this. And then COVID happened. And so I've been thinking about it a lot and like how would you solve this problem? And there wasn't an apparent answer to me. But then COVID happened and it became clear that the laws had changed. And now you could take that really good care that that hormone specialist did, offer it virtually to lots more women and have it covered by insurance. And so that was kind of the light bulb for me was that
Mm.
combination of being able to do this in a much more scalable way. So you could really offer great care to lots more people.
I
Well,
mean,
at least something good came out of that time.
Yeah.
Sounds like it, then
Yeah.
not a lot of amazing things happened then, but it sounds like something really amazing happened. Kirsten, go ahead.
right. And it's thank you for sharing that. And it's sadly such a common story, right? I mean, I'm 51 and I have so many friends that like that's what oh, you should be on, you should be on this, you should be on that, but it's never like HRT or kind of anything to really help with the actual what's actually happening. It's, an antidepressant or something like that to
Right.
serve something else. And it's just so crazy to me how common that still is today going on. And then the fact that we are talking about it more, which I think we certainly are. But I think even, I was just saying to my friend, even like that's such a small amount. Most people, I think, aren't even aware of it, let
They're
alone
not.
doing something about it.
So the numbers back you up. 3.8% of women in this country are in perimenopause or menopause and on hormones. 3.8%, right? So by most calculations of most doctors that you talk to, 90% should be on it.
Hmm.
So there's so much scared. So everyone is just very scared and they don't have the right information. And so they don't get the medications that are appropriate for them. And honestly, look, if people don't want to take it, it's great. There are lots of other things you can do. And there are supplements and there's lots of things you can do. But the reality is, for many women, hormone replacement therapy is the right thing. And we just need to get them so they're not scared of it. So at least they understand their options.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so how are you doing that? Knowing what I know in my experience, it definitely is the solution. And seeing you guys are the solution. You guys not only can do it, virtually everywhere, but also the insurance thing because it is expensive. And so you've really unlocked that. How do we tell the world?
That's my job. And that's what honestly, I feel like my job is to be brave, right? To say menopause is hot and to kind of yell it from the rooftops and just try my damnedest to educate women to understand there are really good options for you. I'll tell you the things that are most interesting to me is all these women are like, I'm too young for perimenopause. You are in perimenopause. If you 35 and up, you're in perimenopause, all right? Like everyone's estrogen is fluctuating and then eventually goes down. So no one should tell you you're not in perimenopause and you should know that. So I try to explain that a lot to people that perimenopause is just your hormones going down. It's not like something that you should think, oh, I'm not there yet.
Right.
So
Sorry,
that's
Chris.
one thing I'm trying to explain. And then the other thing on the opposite side is women tell me all the time, I'm done with that. They're like, I'm done with menopause. Well, actually, that is not true. And there's a beautiful time period within 10 years of not getting your period, 10 years, where if you start hormone replacement therapy, It not only helps your bones, but it helps prevent cardiovascular disease and it can help prevent Alzheimer's. So you're not done with it. Don't think that because your period has stopped, you're done with it. Instead, it's actually the perfect time to be doing things to help yourself and to help you live longer, stronger, which is what I spend my time thinking about. So those are big misconceptions, right? Like I was on the airplane and the steward, the flight attendant, excuse me, looked at me and she laughed. She's like, "I'm so glad I'm done with menopause. I'm over that." And I didn't know like the right way to say, well, actually, no one's done with menopause. So those are two of the biggest preconceptions, right? That I'm too young, so I'm not in perimenopause, or I'm already done.
And so how has because I do feel like the conversation in the last even year, I would say, is vastly different to 5 years ago, right? Like I'm reading about perimenopause, literally like a brand coming out every day being
Yeah,
like,
right.
your Aura ring can track
Yeah,
this, or
exactly.
like, here's a supplement for this, like,
Yeah.
and also all of TikTok. Like every time I'm like, why is this thing happening to me? I just type it into TikTok, and guess what the answer is? It's perimenopause.
Perimenopause.
But a
Sure.
worrying concern that people are turning to TikTok to get their information than not their doctors. So, like, has that helped you guys? Like, do you feel like it's like all ships rise and like that's great for you? Or do you feel like it's been a lot of competition? Like, tell us from a brand perspective, like how you feel like the conversation has changed things.
So honestly, I do think it's all ships rise. I'm willing to compete because I think our care is great. So if to me, it's not so much like in general, I think if people want good care, they will come to us. If they want just a product, they'll go someplace else, and that's fine.
Mm,
My job is to just offer great care. And the space is so big. I really think that it really is. We're talking every woman in this country. Like, not every woman gives childbirth. Every woman in the country goes through perimenopause and menopause. So I welcome people. I try to help other people. Like, to me, it's very much this is a big market. And
right. It's
so
a
I'm
bit
not
like
so worried.
asking if there's too many OBGYNs in the world. Like,
Right.
there can never be
Exactly.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I
Chris,
love that.
half the counties in this country don't even have an OBGYN. Not one. So it's not like there's like such a plethora of great care out there that you're choosing between one or the other. Women, sometimes when they come to us, they tell us that their alternatives to drive 2 to 3 hours to see someone. So it's a whole day off of
Mm,
work. Like that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. So,
right.
we're
It's like a
taking care of
care
a whole
desert.
lot of, yes. So there's a lot of those. We're One thing I love about our company is we're taking care of some of the most important, I guess, people in the country who are judges and senators and CEOs of Fortune 50 companies. And we're taking care of a lot of Amazon factory workers. And
Mm, I
I've
love that.
loved that. Like I love that we're
Mhm.
able to take care of that big group of women and be there for all of them.
That's great.
So I have a question about that. I feel like we actually have a good like mix of like B2B companies and B2C companies. And one of the things that I observe about you guys that I think is really interesting is that you've like sort of taken like the dual approach, right? Like you're marketing to consumers, but you're also marketing to businesses and saying like, hey, you should be offering this and doing that. How have you felt like the message is different? Do you have to do a lot more education for like the businesses to be like, you need to offer this? Or are they getting that demand from their employees? And so it's just like a no brainer for them?
So I will joke that when I was first fundraising for the company, I used to say it was B2B for show and B2C for dough because all the investors wanted to see that we had a B2B strategy. But I knew that fundamentally the consumer was going to be the patient, the consumer was going to be our driving force. I still feel like that's the case, that the patient consumer is the driving force. But you get a lot of credibility when your employer offers us as a
Mm,
benefit. And so we see real benefits when big companies like Pepsi or Oracle we have a bunch of big companies. And when they say Midi is something that we feel good about, it's just another marketing message, but it's a very powerful one. So think of it like that. Like our B2B strategy, in the end, I'm trying to be a consumer. I want to be the trusted consumer brand for women in perimenopause and menopause. Like, I want you to come to me and trust me that I'm going to give you the best care, which I am. I'm going to offer you supplements because I think a lot of women need extra fiber or cortisol managers or whatever, and we're going to make the best of those. I'm going to have a lot of good vagina creams for you because women need vagina creams. And we will do all of that in the best way. I need to build that trusted brand. And I can do that through consumer marketing. But honestly, it's more powerful when your employer says, come to a webinar. Midi Health doctors are going to talk to you about perimenopause and how it might be impacting you at work and things to think about. It's a really good marketing strategy for us.
I love a webinar. I never even thought of that. Like back in the, ancient days, I used to go to like lunch and learns because I worked in architecture and like all these people, it's like the best, there would be the most entertaining lunch and learn ever. Like much better than learning about, different kinds of flooring, which is what I would do.
Right.
Right.
So we offer
Much more
webinars at
fascinating.
large companies, sometimes thousands of people come, they're online, and we talk about menopause and how menopause can be impacting you at work. And it works really well.
That's great. Yeah.
I love
That
that.
conversation needs to get louder.
Right. Everything about this needs to get louder.
Yes. 1,000%. 1,000%. So we know so much is happening in the longevity space, and you just launched something, Age Well. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So I'm going to tell you the dirty secret of longevity.
Right. We are here for
Longevity
dirty secrets.
Yeah, like how much closer
Right.
can I lean in?
Tell me everything.
Longevity and prevention are mostly a lot of the same thing, right? Like longevity,
Yep.
prevention, and proactive care are kind of the same thing. Like longevity is a sexy name, right? But what are the most important parts of longevity for women? It is the basics of sleep, diet, exercise, weightlifting. Those are the basics. Then you add hormones, which is probably the best female longevity medication. And then probably GLP-1s are the second best longevity medication. Then everything else is extra. That is the truth. And we are offering the everything else too for women who are interested. We can do the blood tests for you so you can get the right blood tests so you can see how you're doing on vitamin D. But honestly, it's also about cholesterol. And let's get those blood tests for you. Let's find out how you're doing. Let's help you monitor and improve. But the most important things you can do are mammograms and colonoscopies for prevention. Let's make sure you got those done so that you don't have cancer. And if you do, let's catch it early. Let's make sure that you are optimizing like the basic stuff. Everything else is good, and we can do that too. But I want to like say that longevity is a beautiful word for prevention.
I'm all about a rebrand though if it gets people involved and wanting to do it, right? Like prevention sounds like so laborious.
Exactly.
And longevity sounds like very exciting. Like I'm like, ooh, like let's go do the longevity thing. Oh yeah, I'll weightlift. If you told me like weightlift for prevention, I'd be like,
yeah,
100%.
That's right. Doesn't sound as fun.
That's my point. Like this is the fun thing that we're thinking about. Okay, when I think about getting old, what do I think about? Not getting cancer. I think a lot about not getting osteoporosis. I mean, you see old ladies who are really bent over. Osteoporosis is insidious, right? And if you take hormones, you will keep your bones strong. Like that is a really basic thing. The best thing that one of the best things, hormones do lots of great things for you. One is they prevent your bones from disintegrating. And actually getting back to something I said earlier, when people say they're done with menopause, if you go off of the hormones, your bones start to disintegrate again. Really important to understand. Within 1 year, you lose those benefits. You want to die on your hormones. You don't want to go off of them, right? Because they will keep your bones strong forever. So understanding that, for example, that's a key component of longevity, bone strength, right? Understanding that, what else you can be taking for Alzheimer's prevention, like all those things are really important. We can call it longevity, but it is keeping your bones and your brain and your breasts and your body strong.
I didn't know that. And so hormones, you can start taking if there's someone listening to this who's 70, don't start? or
No,
start?
so actually, ideally, you want to start within 10 years of your last period. If you are more than 10 years, then at Midi Health, we'll have you do something called a calcium artery test to see how much calcium has been built up in your um, built up. And essentially, the way that it works is if you have a lot of calcium buildup, there might be a little bit more risk of taking the hormones. If you
Mm.
don't, then even at age 70, you can start. That's just a test that we do to understand better if it's appropriate for you to start. The best benefits of hormones we know come within 10 years of stopping your period or earlier, but not later.
Amazing, because that's the unlock, right? That's why it's my understanding of why we're all so afraid of HRT is because there was a study done and the study was done incorrectly, that it was people past menopause,
Yes,
which is
that's right.
not always the ideal age. But that's my understanding of like why we're all so afraid of it. And we
Yep,
don't talk about it, we don't do it, and everybody isn't adapting HRT.
that's right. You're right.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, it's that study has done more damage than probably anything to women's health.
Yeah, so frustrating. What is kind of on the horizon for you guys as a not just a brand, but also like, I don't know, medical innovation, like, we got a lot of very, very curious people who read, like that's part of the readership is just like they're insatiably curious, which I love about them. So tell us like what you're excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I love that insatiably curious people. So I will say I'm not going to talk about it a lot, but there are some peptides that we're looking at that seem to be showing some good impact for bone strength, for mood. So I think that over time you will see more peptides emerging of things to try. I am excited about a lot of the testosterone research, and we're expanding a lot of our DEA providers so people can get access to testosterone. Testosterone is showing interesting results, not just for libido, but also for mental acuity and bone strength. So it's emerging evidence, but it's enough that for me, I'm excited to be trying it.
Okay.
And so I've been starting to use testosterone. And then, there's just more research every day. So my job is just to do that, also be insatiably curious and then see what people should be trying. And then one thing I feel really strongly about is giving women the access to try, right? I think historically doctors have been very
Mhm.
much gatekeepers, right? So you
Yes.
read an article and you go, "Oh, I'd like to try this." And they go, "Oh, it's not proven." And I'd like to change that paradigm and say, "Oh, you'd like to try it? Great. We can't promise it's going to work, but there's no downside to trying it. See if you feel better." So I really want to change that paradigm. And that's what I've been thinking a lot about is how do we, if it's not going to be damaging, why not let people try things?
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I think that's such a beautiful unlock because everybody is different and everybody's body is different, but what works for them, like I'm all for peptides. On many of them, they're great.
Yeah.
But the
Which
ability
ones?
to try. I am
Got the
on,
list.
yeah, BP157,
Okay. You are.
testosterone,
Great.
AD plus. Yeah.
It's great. So I
Yeah.
want to offer those to all of our patients. So I'm working on that, right? I'm not going to ever force you to take them, but why shouldn't you have the option to try? That's how I think of it. And so we are going to have all those things by the end of the year.
I love that. I
That's
think
just,
that's a
it's a paradigm shift.
culturally, yeah. I was gonna say we've talked about this a bunch. I think I wouldn't even put it in the Maha movement, but I do think that there's like a lot of people coming out of that thinking of like it's just like I want to be in control of my life, my literal life force.
Yeah.
And it's like I think there's a big cultural shift around like people expecting that. And I think that that will actually change all of insurance. Like, I think you're coming up against it early kind of in your journey. But like, I think there's a lot of people who are moving along and just saying, what am I doing with all of this regular stuff that like actually isn't allowing me to do the things that I think are going to help, and then they're like, oh, would you like a migraine medication? And it's like, no, I would like to treat myself, like literally like a whole self, not like treats, but you know what I mean. And so it's like I just think that that is coming for businesses. Like I think that whole healthcare industry is like, I don't think that they've kind of woken up to how over it everybody is and how they will change it or stop
working with you if you're not catching up.
100%.
Think that we want to be more in control. I think you're exactly right. So that is my perspective. I would like to be able to be more in control and get what I would like to take. And I want to try it. If it's dangerous, don't give it to me. Like, please, I'm not ever saying we should do anything that's
Of course.
dangerous. But there's so much, I think about Alzheimer's, for example, right? Like, I don't want to wait for the proof that estrogen prevents Alzheimer's because I will be dead before that proof comes
Mhm.
Or
out.
you'll have Alzheimer's by the time it happens.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the emerging evidence is good enough for me. And that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on is where is there emerging evidence? And if there's emerging evidence and no downside, then maybe you should get to try these things.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is something we talked about, Chris, in the last podcast, as far as a sign. Like, the wellness industry is changing. And Joanna, people like you with Midi Health, like, are leading the way in that change. And it's going to be completely disrupted and exactly going in the way of we all want to drive our own care, not just be given something. Kind of jumping off of that within kind of this unconventional, you obviously look at things very unconventionally, which I welcome. And want to kind of move into kind of how you are as a leader and within your team. Like, how do you show up, and anything that our audience can learn from as far as being an unconventional leader and leading a team?
I have nothing left to prove anymore. So it's kind of interesting, right? Like where I am in my career, I just want this to work. Like, I just want this to be a really big, impactful company that helps a lot of women. Like, that is my driving factor. It's not about like proving, and it's why I can be brave on LinkedIn, right? I'm not trying to prove anything at this point other than the fact that this can be a really big company and that taking care of women is a good business and that providing really good care to people is a really good business. I want to show that. I have a lot of young people who work for my company and I really want them to be massively successful. So, I think a lot about that, like how can I make them massively successful? Um because it's not about my ego anymore. It's really how do I make my company most successful and how do I make the people who work for me most successful? It is a very fun thing. I have a lot of women who work for me who are just awesome, right? And they're coming, they're having babies, they're coming back and they're killing it and they're building businesses and they're just doing such a good job. I mean, I have these 22-year-old AI brilliant, sorry, I'm having brain fog. They're building amazing AI products for us product managers. They're right out of college. They're doing great jobs. Like, I love this. Like, I'm trying to basically empower a workforce of phenomenal people to be successful. And my job is to make them as successful as I can. And so I think about that. And it's so rewarding to me. I can't tell you how rewarding it is to have this incredible workforce of people and feel like I'm giving them good jobs and teaching them and collaborating with them. So I think I am kind of an unconventional leader. I don't really follow a lot of like hierarchies or protocols. Like, it's very much I'm just talking to everyone in the company all the time. I'm emailing, or texting sometimes at 6 o'clock in the morning. Not that they have to get back to me, but what do you think about this idea? So I'm trying to make it a very innovative company where people who are innovative and care about this stuff can thrive.
I love that. And also not being afraid of like letting them go ahead and do it, it sounds like, which is like, again, another paradigm shift that I talk a lot about is like, there's going to be people in your company who are 22 years old who are going to build a company inside of your company and you in an afternoon, and you're either going to like be there for that or you're going to be afraid of that. And like, it's going to happen one way or the other. So like,
Yeah,
may as
I
well
think
get
that's
on the
right.
boat.
Yes. So I'm trying to really encourage that. I love
I
these
love
young
that.
people. They're amazing. Like, let's get them to have great careers. And I would love them to have great careers taking care of women and democratizing wellness. Like, that's as good as it gets for me.
I have a question for you. What do you think as a brand is like the sort of the thing that you've done that you're like, this was the best thing that we ever decided to do? Like if there's somebody listening, I'd say our mix is like we have a lot of CMOs, a lot of CEOs, so like really senior people who are like having to like see really far out into the future and make those kinds of decisions. And then we have a lot of the 22-year-old like
Mhm.
AI like building a business in an afternoon people too. So like what do you think as a brand is the thing that you've done that you're like, if I were to do this again, I would do this again?
do think we're pretty transparent. I will give a story, which I think emphasizes that. When last December, we were having some growing pains. And I mean, we're always having growing pains, right? Scaling a national workforce of clinicians is challenging. But I
Right.
put this post on LinkedIn and I put out this email that said, look, I know that we're making some mistakes right now. We're trying really hard, but we're dropping some balls. I'm setting up this email address called frustrations@joinmidi.com. And please, if you're having a problem, email it and I will make sure it gets to the right person. And I've gotten a lot of emails. And even to this day, so that was, last December and now it's August, I'm still getting emails to frustrations@joinmidi.com. And I answer every one of them. That patient gets the right answer, but also I am answering them. And I think that has been really good because we do make mistakes as a company. We do drop balls. And I don't think we ever make mistakes with the care. Our care is always really good, but that doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. And I think the fact that we are reaching out to people when we do and try to fix them and we're proactive about that, I think it gives us some grace. And I think it enables people to feel like we're trying. And I think that has helped a lot.
I love that. Yeah, that
Love that.
reminds me, Kirsten, of what was that name of that juice brand that we met in London, like way back in the day? They were
Yeah.
this amazing
It's
juice
a
brand, and on
hysterical
the
one.
side of
Yes.
the bottle, this is another episode of Christina can't remember
Innocent.
any names,
Innocent.
but this is Innocent. There we go. Innocent juice, but they have this phone number on the back of or they did anyway, on the back of their bottles, and the phone number rang to every single person's desk. And it was like to enable or empower people, or also to say like, hey, it's all of our problem. Like if somebody has a problem, it's all of our jobs to fix that problem, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like some help desk person's problem who's just going to be like, well, like let me send you some free juice. And I think like that idea of like really putting customer happiness, I guess, is at the center of your business. Like I think that is something I think a lot of brands talk that talk and not a lot of them walk the walk at all.
Totally. I would push to say, I think my synopsis of your leadership style and what you're sharing with us, and the fact that you started with like, you don't have anything to prove. I think that your leadership style and the way that you're showing up and the way that you're driving your company is one of the benefit and one of the superpowers of menopause, right? You don't care anymore. So you're not trying to prove anything. You're open to being transparent and not only like, okay, well, you can see behind the books, but no, we're going to come, I'm going to create an email address. We're going to actually move into the dark space. We're going to move into the problem area and not just let it sit. But I think that those are really like, we don't talk enough about, there's so many benefits of menopause, and it really is a superpower in my mind. And I would say that, you're showing the way in that.
I've never thought of it like that. But honestly, it's funny because there have been menopause companies started by 22-year-olds. And I kind of always laugh because I appreciate that they're trying to solve the problem, but they don't understand the problem. And honestly, part of our superpower is our entire founding team is women over 50. Like we are in this with you. We are not just talking about it. And we would read some of the things that and I love young people. I'm not saying they shouldn't start these companies, but like when a 25-year-old starts a menopause company, you can tell that they might not understand us very well. So I think that has been one of our superpowers, that we're building this for us and for our moms and our sisters. And like, we really are building it for what we want, the care that we want. And I think that has made a big difference.
Yeah, that's amen. I mean, I say that as somebody who spends a lot of time talking about silvers though. And people are like, why do you have this obsession? And I'm like, because no one else seems to have it. So like,
yeah,
like I'm going to throw my head in the mix, but like I do at least have silver parents. So I guess I have I've looked after a lot of elders.
Yeah,
but,
no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that you can't do it. Like you don't have to be in it. I just think one of our superpowers has just been that we understand what we need and we've built it for us. We have built the care really that we have been looking for.
Yeah, there's something it unlocks. Okay, so what about on a personal wellness health journey? What are the things that you're doing? Like, tell me, I'm into the things, but like, what's next? Like, what are the things that you're personally doing that I need to adapt in my routine?
Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to be a little promotional, but I'm going to tell you how fun this
Oh, I
is.
love this. It's like
So,
I'm in QVC right now. I'm into it.
yes. Okay. So we launched our daily fiber. And the reason I'm telling you this is so awesome is
Cute
that
packaging.
okay, fiber is Metamucil. Let's be real, right?
Yes.
Historically, Metamucil is actually the thing, and you put it in your group drink and it kind of doesn't taste very good, but you take it. So now we have sugar-free and no calories. They taste like candy, and I'm popping fiber all day. And women don't get enough fiber. And so it's actually quite remarkable that they were able to make a form factor to put fiber in something that tastes so good. And it actually is flavored with green banana powder, but it fills you up and it makes it so that you have less sugar fluctuations during the day. So like it kind of evens out some of your up and down. So I've been taking 2 around 10 o'clock, which is now, and then I've been taking 2 around 3 o'clock, and I find that it makes me snack less. So this
I
is
love
one
that.
superpower,
Love
and we've
this.
spent like 9 months formulating this, but I'm very excited. And then the other thing that I've gotten very into is a cortisol manager. So it's essentially, and Midi made one that's basically ashwagandha, L-theanine, and magnesium. And it helps me sleep, and it helps my racing brain, which you can see I kind of have a racing brain. So that's another trick that I've been using. Oh, and the testosterone, which I mentioned. I think the testosterone is good for me.
Yes, we tried Kirsten on testosterone, and let me tell you, it was not necessary. So she's no longer on that.
One hormone I don't need.
And I think that's the point, though, that you're making, is that everybody has to find the thing that works. And she tried it. She's like, this is not necessary. And then we change it. I love we have to we'll link to the fiber gummies because
Yes.
the packaging is very, very adorable. And now I'm going to have to try them.
They're really
Right.
good, and they really do work.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
And fiber's a real thing. I have a drink, and we've talked about it, that I've taken for, I don't know, almost 10 years now, that includes psyllium husk, right? Which is just Metamucil. It's the same thing. And on this podcast, we've talked about Metamucil. If you're out there, like, we want to rebrand you, like we need it. Let's just do it in a different way. I mean, I think all of this is, we need these things, but let's present it, it's longevity versus prevention.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. You also want it to look good on your counter, which is what those do.
100%.
And that's just the truth of today's consumer, right? And
100%.
Well,
there's
and it
nothing
needs
wrong
to
with
taste
that.
good. It just needs to
That
taste
too.
good.
Yes. Kirsten's juice is very acidic for me. It doesn't agree with me. I love this. Thank you for coming on and sharing with us. Is there anything that, you feel like we didn't talk about that we should be talking about? Like,
No, this is great. I would just urge people to think about, if you are over 35, most likely you are in perimenopause. Think about a lot of the things that might go wrong in your life, as they could be related to your hormones. And once you kind of think in that direction, sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, but think about it like that, and then make sure you get the right care. Your audience is mostly women who are working. You really can thrive at work if you get the right care. And I think that's just really important to think about. And so just make sure you get access, and then come to Midi, because we do a good job providing it.
I love it.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Joanna,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
This was fun. Thank you, guys.
Loved that conversation. Joanna's a rock star.
Yes. I mean, you've been waiting to meet her for ages, but also I feel like it's good to know that you're basically up on everything, because otherwise I was going to lose you for the rest of the afternoon as you went out to Erewhon and like talked to your doctor and like figured out how to do all the things. So congratulations on being on the forefront of longevity in women's health.
Thank you very much. Yes, I filled out the bingo card and I'm feeling pretty good.
Yes. Like if like the circles. Snaps or whatever we're doing.
Ooh, okay.
Remember when snaps were a moment? Like that was a moment for like.
You still see that some places. We went to a conference when snaps were just becoming, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that was a lot. All right, let's talk about the episode.
It was a lot, but it wasn't, which was kind of the issue for me. If you're going to be a lot, just be a lot.
Yeah, you wanted hoots and hollers. All right,
100%.
So tell me what your like big takeaways were. What were you like excited about in the combo?
I mean, I think there's so many things. I think this is the conversation that we all need to be happening. And I think the fact that Midi does it for anyone, anywhere, and the fact that they accept insurance, like I think it will unlock a lot of things for people. But for me, the really big takeaway were kind of more of the cultural impact. One is really how healthcare is changing. We talked about this in the last pod, and just like it's going to be not about going to your doctor because they're going to tell you, oh, you should be an antidepressant for this, oh, or you should take, a sleeping pill for this, and that's not the answer. But we want to really be able to unlock and drive this ourselves with the right information. And I think Joanna and a company like Midi are leading the way in that happening. So that to me is a big unlock. And then I think the other thing for me is really culturally, she's an example of menopause being a superpower and leading a company with that superpower.
Yeah.
She's, nothing to prove. And it's not just transparency, but really leaning into that as a leader and as a company. And I think those things are really about like, it's a yes and.
Yes. I think there's probably some swear words that we could put in there of like describing
Fuck
that
yes.
gives no F's anymore, right? And like in a way that like she really does. But like I think one of the things that I've seen culturally explained to me by many in the perimenopause, although apparently I'm in perimenopause too now, so I can join the crowd, is
welcome.
Like just saying that like it's that period of your life where you're just like, yeah, like I have no interest in filtering myself for you, like no interest in making myself palatable for you, but I'm also not interested in kind of like messing around and like trying to like make everything like easy. And I think that's one of the things I like, the conversation around the frustration email, because I think that's something that a lot of brands could take away from, right? And it's like an attitude change of like, she saw something was happening and she took action in order to change it. And I think a lot of people would be afraid of what that might look like. Oh, like it makes us look like we're in a crisis state and like da 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 da. And it's like, no, it makes us look like we are like on it and just trying our best and just doing the right thing. And I think that's the same with the innocent guys were not in perimenopause, but it's like the same like kind of attitude, right? They would definitely not. I love them though. It's just like as a brand, you need to do that. So learn from the menopausal women in your life.
Exactly. But I think that frustration email, which everybody should take away, it's not just doing the thing, right? It's serving a purpose for sure. It's like solving problems and doing that. Yes. But to me, the impact is so much larger because culturally, you're now saying this. Here's an email. If you have a problem, whoever you are, whatever level, whatever you are, send an email to this and I, the CEO, will read it and resolve it. Like that's really powerful culturally.
Yes. And I think, there are brands like, there's people who like are like, oh yeah, like if you're CEO, you have to work at the checkout line and like experience. I think it's all that kind of same attitude, but I do think it's like something about the way she was talking about it, like it's like, yes, like just do it. Like don't like philosophize about it and like make it look like do it for appearance's sake. Like it seemed like she really wanted to like solve the problem. So
yes, totally. Yeah.
I mean,
what about you? What was your
the other conversation maybe? I think it was just like, I don't know if it was so much learnings as like, yes, agree, harder agree. I think honestly, the conversation around longevity versus prevention was like one of the like things that I liked, because like quite honestly, like I don't care that longevity is a rebrand of prevention. It's one that's working. Like it's like when kale became cool, like great, good for kale because it's actually really good for us. So like I'm all here for like the moment where we all figure out like how to rebrand something that's good for us. Like great.
Metamucil, we're here for you.
Yes. So I liked that as like, like that's all that longevity is, because I think a longevity for a while has been kind of in this biohacking, like, oh, you're a biohacker, you're this, you're like on the fringe, you're a bro, like da 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 da. And I think that is changing. Like I think there's I wrote in the newsletter recently, like Banza has like added a gluten-free pasta, right? That is like, I'm going to go on a tangent, but I'm going to come back. But it's like rice flour, brown rice flour, right? And I was like, okay, great, like gluten-free, but actually gluten-free is kind of on the way out. what I'm really surprised about is that they haven't leaned in harder to like the fact that they are an insulin, like, I don't know, friendly, if we want to call that, insulin friendly brand. When we're learning now that for longevity, like insulin is such a problem. Like, so it's like, oh, these spikes that she was talking about and the fiber and all of these things, like that is so connected to longevity. And I'm like, guys, Banza, like forget about the gluten free. Like we're all over here talking about how to like live to 100 and like be healthy. And, you know, there's some questionable ingredients inside of Banza, so maybe they can't, like, they're afraid of that. But like the insulin's friendliness of foods, like I think that will be a bigger conversation that no one's really having. And I'm so much more interested in that space than like these, like, I think like gluten-free was basically like, everyone's like, oh, like it's like that's like a no carb diet, and like that's not what gluten-free is, guys. Like that's not what it is. So
I see your pivot and I'm here for it. And I think last week we were talking about one of the signs being the medical industry completely changing. And I think what's amazing is to then have a conversation with one of the companies leading that way. And I think that's what we did.
Agreed. And there are a lot of them, a lot of great brands. And I also thought it was great that she was like, yeah, the more people, the merrier, because like this is an enormous market. And I think that's, again, like, it's kind of like another thing that I think that brands should be taking away is like, you know, this is not a niche. This is not a niche brand. Like this is a huge space, like enormous. So it bothers me, and I think people need to wake up to like, this is not a niche. You know, just like alphas are not a niche. Like this is a real, like enormous demographic that actually can be broken down into niches. So you can find your niche within this not niche. Go have fun.
Right. Yeah. Would love to hear what everybody thinks.
Oh, yes. Please give us some comments. Tell it, Kirsten, all your longevity hacks, please.
Yes. What
Anything
am I missing?
You're trying. And yeah. And any other leaders that you think are like Joanna, who are really kind of doing things in a like better way, I would also want to know about so that we can interview them.
Yeah. Who should we talk to next? Would love to hear.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Till next time, stay curious.
That was it for this episode of Good Thinking. Don't forget to tune in next week.
If you found this valuable, subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
And don't forget to read on Substack for even more insights.
And if you really liked it, drop us a heart. We'd love to hear from you.
Ciao. Until next time.